Welcome to Understanding Standards-Based Grading. I am Mr. Vetter. In this video, we're going to address a couple things. Number one, just what is standards-based grading? Number two, how has the physics team here at Ceres chosen to implement it? And number three, how can I understand the grade that I, or my student, has? Standards-based grading is an approach to grading where we attempt to evaluate a student's knowledge and skill based on the standards provided to us by the state of California. Specifically, these are the Next Generation Science Standards, often abbreviated as NGSS. These standards emphasize the ability to think, act, and communicate as a scientist. In other words, the standards tell us there are things a student needs to know and things a student needs to be able to do. It's not enough for students to have scientific knowledge. They need to be able to apply that knowledge to solve problems. If a student has the knowledge and can apply those skills, their grade should reflect that ability. So how have we chosen to implement this? We have taken the standards that have been given to us and we have broken them up into 12 categories. 7 of those categories are about things the student should know. 5 of them are about things a student should be able to do. We have also chosen to implement a 4-point rubric. This assigns a student a score of 0 to 4 that provides an objective measure of student progress toward mastery. This scale is used on all of their assignments. Students are encouraged to redo assignments for a better grade. This lets them show how their mastery is increasing. Let's take a look at the categories. For the list of things students need to know, we have engineering principles, mechanical waves such as earthquakes and sound, electromagnetic waves, the origins of the universe and stellar evolution, mechanics, which includes Newton's laws and momentum, forces at a distance, including gravity, electricity, and magnetism, and finally, converting energy from one form to another. For the list of skills, we have the ability to develop and use models, how to plan and carry out an investigation, once that investigation is done, using mathematical reasoning and data analysis to understand your results, designing solutions and using claim, evidence, and reasoning, and finally, students need to be able to obtain, evaluate, and effectively communicate scientific information. As I said, our rubric is based on 4 points. A 4 means students have exceeded expectations for their grade level. A 3 means students have met all of the expectations for their grade level. A 2 means the student has met some of the expectations, but they have room to improve. A 1 means the student is not meeting expectations. A 0 is reserved for when students have not turned in work or it is very far below our expectations. The letter grades that match these levels are a 3 to 4 is an A, a 2.5 is a B, a 2 is a C, a 1.5 is a D, and anything below a 1.5 is an F. Not everyone learns at the same rate. But if a student masters a skill or concept, we want to give them credit for that. To that end, we encourage students to redo assignments because we want them to continue to improve and to continue to provide us with evidence of their growth. There are some assignments that cannot be redone. These usually take place at the end of a semester, so it is difficult for students to redo them. However, for those assignments, we try to break them up into multiple pieces along several weeks so there is time to redo parts of them. We do have a couple rules for students wanting to redo things. For basic work, such as homework, the student can simply redo it and turn it in. For more in-depth things, such as quizzes, tests, or projects, students have a couple steps they need to follow. First, they have to wait 1 week before they can attempt it again. For example, if this quiz was on Tuesday, they would have to wait until the next Tuesday to redo it. Second, they have to get support through one of the options Ceres offers. This includes CAPE, special interventions, and tutoring, which is available Tuesdays after school and Thursdays before school. If you're unsure what options are available to you, please see one of the teachers in the department or a learning director. Third, the student's notebook must be up to date. This includes any worksheets that have been glued in, appropriate notes, etc. Because students are allowed to use their notebooks on any quiz or test, having an incomplete notebook is a severe hindrance. Before they can redo it, then, they need to show us their notebook is ready. Finally, the student needs to schedule a time outside of class to redo the assignment. Let's take a look at the different aspects of a student's class grade. First, there are 12 categories based on standards that contribute toward a student's grade. These are the ones we went over earlier. Second, there is one category for our introductory unit. While it is not directly tied to a standard, it is based on several of them and helps students understand what we are looking for in the class. Finally, there is one non-graded category for items such as notebooks and other things that we need to track to make sure that the student has done it, but that it doesn't reflect their mastery of the subject. Each category has a grade of 0 to 4 that reflects the student's mastery of that category. The student's grade is an average of their grade in the 13 graded categories. In this way, it represents their average level of mastery of the content of the class. Finally, extra credit is not offered in the class. Because the grade is supposed to represent the student's mastery of the content, offering extra credit doesn't make sense. In addition, because students can always redo work for a better grade, extra credit isn't needed. Let's take a look at what this looks like in Infinite Campus. Here we see the category. In this case, it's for claim, evidence, and reasoning, and designing solutions. This is where the grade for that category will go. Next to that, Infinite Campus will display a percentage grade. However, we strongly recommend people ignore the percentage. Because of the way we set things up, the percentage is very different from how it looks in other classes, and it can lead to some confusion. It's best to look at the letter grade and the number of points. Finally, you can see information on individual assignments. Note that the assignment name is in red. This is how Infinite Campus shows assignments that have been marked as do not include in grade calculation. We mark all assignments this way. There's a good reason for that, but it's an involved explanation. Suffice it to say, we do this because we are looking at each assignment as evidence of the student's mastery, but we don't want the program to simply average them out like it normally would. Instead, we use this to see a student's progress and score them appropriately based on that. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope it answers your questions about our grading system. If you still have questions, please contact us or a learning director, and we'll be happy to sit down with you and go into more detail.